Good morning. It's Thursday, September 18th, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 60, and it is a rainy, gloomy day in the Pacific Northwest. That's okay. I'm still here. I made it in. Nobody got any crazy road accidents on the way, and it was touch and go there for a minute. Wasn't sure if we'd make it in time for today's episode of Tech Talk Today, but I was prepared. In fact, using my special remote logging capabilities from my phone, I pre-assembled the Mumble Room, which has been assembled with some of the internet's strongest opinionated and most intellectually gifted citizens. Hello, time appropriate greetings, Mumble citizens.
Mornings.
Time appropriate greetings.
Time appropriate greetings, guys. All right, we got a great show today.
I don't know if I should be insulted or
No,
not.
I just tease. It's great to have you guys here. So prepare yourselves for this, because yesterday we were talking about a vulnerability in ebooks that could expose your Amazon account to being taken over by an attacker. Well, stop talking about that, everybody, because now we've got new hardware to look at. Yay! Amazon releases new hardware today, almost as if to distract us. Following a big day of Apple news, of course, Amazon said, hey, you know what? Hey, stop talking about iOS 8. Stop talking about iPhone 6. Let's talk about Kindles. So they refreshed 3 new Kindles, including a brand new Kindle called The Voyage. And it actually looks like a pretty nice rig. And it starts at just 99 bones. The Kindle Voyage, which now sits at the top of the lineup, sports a brand new 6-inch e-ink display and what the company is calling a page press, which replaces the previous hardware buttons and allows you to change pages by simply squeezing the side of the screen. In terms of dimensions, the device comes with an impressive 7.6 millimeter thin and weighs just around 6.4 ounces. The device starts at $199 if you want the Voyage. And the version that's the version that ships with ads, though, and doesn't have the 3G built in, which is a really sweet feature. Additionally, Amazon also announced the new bottom-of-the-line Kindle, which now comes standard with touchscreen. Hey-oh! Yay, as well as a processor that supports around 20% faster operations in the previous model. That will start selling for $79 if you want ads, and $99 if you don't want ads. But that's not bad, though, for a Kindle e-reader. Okay, so before we talk about the Kindles, I wanted to play our favorite guys over at The Verge. Had a quick hands-on review. We'll play a clip from it, see what they thought.
Amazon has decided to unleash a slew of tablets, and the most exciting one isn't a tablet, it's actually this reader. It's called the Kindle Voyage, and it's available in October. You can pre-order it now. And the big deal with the Kindle Voyage is it has this new screen. It's 300 pixels per inch, which is an upgrade over the Paperwhite's 221 pixels per inch. And it's just gorgeous looking. You can take the text settings and drop it all the way down to the smallest, and the thing is still completely readable. It's great. The screen is also completely flush with the rest of the Kindle, so it's all the touch screen and everything is all flat. It's a glass that has a special finish on it so that it's not reflective in the sun, which is pretty impressive. And then the other thing you'll note is there's these lines on the side and this dot, and you can just sort of squeeze the sides of the Kindle and it will page turn for you, and then you squeeze the dot to go back a page. Works on either the left or the right side. And you don't have to squeeze very hard, so you don't have to move your thumb, and there's a tiny little haptic feedback that happens when you squeeze it as well.
And the nice thing about the haptic feedback is it sounds like it can happen before maybe the screen updates in case you have a little bit of lag, so that way the users know it's been registered. So here's my personal take on this. I always think some of the best stuff Amazon has made are the Kindles. I think they still struggle to make a decent-looking device, especially the back of the Voyage looks particularly clunky to me. The price seems about right, starting at about $80 if you don't mind ads on the lock screen, which I actually don't think most people do. And if you're going to get an ebook reader, of course, the Kindle is a serious competitor. Now, in the pre-show, we were starting to talk about, Skookie, you and I were starting to talk about some of the issues you have with the Amazon Kindle, even though, are you a Kindle user yourself? Don't you have a few Kindles?
Yeah, I have a Paperwhite or whatever the hell it's called, and I love that machine. And I also have I think it's the latest, but they come out with more machines than Samsung does.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like it's impossible to remember.
Are they lacking anything that you feel like you were hoping they would address with the next Kindle update?
You know what I love about the Paperwhite? It is so great to read in all like lighting settings. Like I
Right.
can go to the bar,
Right.
and it doesn't strain my eyes like when I used to read off of the iPad where it's all backlit.
Yeah.
But I also love the Kindle Fire actually because it's got the Bluetooth, and you got me addicted to the Audible stuff. So I listen to audiobooks all the time, like in my living room. And yeah, you're right. There is like they do not make very pretty looking devices, but they are very good and sturdy devices.
And generally pretty good battery life.
Oh, super good battery life, especially for like the Paperlight. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
As far as
go
I'm concerned, for the ugliness of the back, you can always get a cover.
Yeah, that's true, right? And
That's a good point.
it doesn't
My
really
mom has
matter.
a cover that looks like a book. And
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, obviously the back of it and whatnot doesn't really matter too much for an e-reader, other than you have to hold it.
What kills me though is they never really owned up. They did, like, you know, the second generation of Kindles. They had like that crazy DX model that was like
The
super
big
huge.
one, like a newspaper size. Yeah.
I wish to God, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
I would totally buy that, even if it were like 3 inches thick and weighed 80
Yeah.
pounds.
You could go
I
all.
would totally buy one.
You should have gone all Steve Gibson and bought like 3 of them and put 2 of them in your freezer and then
He would.
store them for later. So there's another story about these Amazon Kindles that I actually, for some reason, find to be more compelling. I think it's because the Amazon hardware situation just seems to be changing all the time. But one thing that I find to be fascinating about it is the actual operating system, their FireOS, their port of Android, which also received an update with all of this. So we now have Amazon FireOS version 4. It lands with what they say is deeper cloud integration, an updated user interface, and profiles for multiple accounts. That's badass, including individual preferences for emails, social networking, all those types of settings. It's based on Android 4.4 KitKat, which, if you think about it, is kind of just in time for Android L to drop soon. So even though it seems current right now that it's based on 4.4, in about a month from now, it's gonna feel really old. But here's a couple of things that they are touting that are kind of unique to FireOS. The article I'll link in the show notes has even more, but these are the ones that I pulled out. Battery life. They have this improved battery life with what they call Smart Suspend. Amazon's touting Smart Suspend as a new way to save battery life. It sets up the device with specific device profiles over time that proactively turns off wireless functionality and other settings, delivering up to 25% more battery life depending on the usage of your device that it detects over time. They also now have advanced streaming and prediction, kind of like your cable box might do, or maybe your satellite box if you had pay-per-view back in the day. It's dubbed ASAP is what they call it, advanced streaming and prediction, ASAP. On FireOS 4 devices, it will predict which TV and movie content you're probably going to watch next and automatically download that and cache it to your Kindle device. Also, they're including free cloud storage now. All FireOS 4 devices now have free unlimited photo storage on the Amazon cloud, including full resolution photos.
Evil.
It's pretty nice, though, for users. We're talking about backup. Yeah, I know, right? It is evil, though. And photos are uploaded wirelessly. Now, one of the reasons I think they go all in on that kind of stuff is because they don't really have satisfactory Dropbox integration or things like that at this point, right?
Well, that, and they also want to be as involved in your content consumption
Sure.
as possible.
Sure. Sure, of course. But, interesting to watch FireOS, and I wonder if, like that smart battery saver where it watches your phone. I had on my One, I had a Snapdragon program that kind of did the same thing that made a difference. It was a battery guru from Snapdragon.
Well, it's a huge thing, like the network adapter, because these machines are so small and so thin. Like, you have a network adapter or Bluetooth, on that chipset. That's like really where the battery goes, right? Am I wrong with that?
Right, no, that, and I've noticed on my L the background syncing. I haven't on my Nexus 5 since not adding my Google account. I get days of battery life. Days.
Have you charged it again yet?
Yeah, just recently. Just recently, yeah. I went like 5 days.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so before we shift gears off of Amazon, I just want to mention the Tech Talk Today Patreon page where you can support the Jupiter Broadcast Network, and we picked up a few of you this week. Thank you. We've got to 329 patrons, which I really appreciate. It'd be awesome to flip that over to 330 by the weekend, maybe even over 330 by next Monday. So what are we doing at patreon.com/today? This is a page I've set up where people who enjoy the Jupiter Broadcasting content, any of the shows, all of the shows, one show, all of them. If you want to take action to say, God, I really love the content they're producing, and I want to make sure they don't go away. I want to make sure that something doesn't go wrong and it causes everything to just disappear. This is where you can go to take action on that. If that's something you've thought, if that's something that's concerned you, this is an avenue you can take to directly impact the future. Keep us sustainable by going over to patreon.com/today. Thank you, everyone who's over there supporting the Jupiter Broadcasting Network. You guys rock. Patreon.com/today. Okay, our next story, guys. Little Apple cover. This is Apple Week. And by the way, I want to mention something up front. You're going to notice Chris is covering a lot more Apple stuff this week because this is like the only week this year, except for maybe when the new iPads come out, where you have factual Apple news. right? Because otherwise, it's all rumors all the time, right? It's, oh, new iPhone this, new OS that, right? And I hate reporting on rumors. I very rarely do it. So now that we actually have actual confirmable Apple news, I'm covering some of it. And because it is the iOS 8 drop week and iPhone 6 drop week, there's a lot of it. And one of them, whenever you have a major operating system update, there's sometimes something goes wrong. Now, keep in mind, iOS 8, right? That's a locked-in release because you got to work with carriers. You got the big announcement of the new phone. That's on a ship date. So sometimes you got to ship the OS and not everything is ready. Well, that happened with iOS 8. So far, it seems like a pretty smooth rollout. My wife updated her devices last night. No major hiccups. However, you might have noticed that the HealthKit apps have been pulled. One of the big features of iOS 8 was HealthKit. However, some bugs were found by Apple at the last minute, so they decided to sort of very quietly pull that out. The details on the issue are still pretty much unknown, but Apple confirmed to Tim Bradshaw of Financial Times that they did indeed discover a bug in HealthKit that would require software to be updated in order to fix it. Apple isn't promising an immediate turnaround on the fix, saying that the only thing that they can say is they should have the HealthKit apps back in the App Store by the end of the month. So
yeah, it was translating into Japanese simultaneously and Cantonese.
Oh, gee.
Oh, nice callback. Nice.
Oh, hey, no, I mean that was so embarrassing.
That was really bad. Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh man, that was the worst. All right, and then we got one more Apple story, which I think is kind of big. I think this is huge, and if you've been listening to Coda Radio for the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of advocating for something kind of like this, for a company to step up and make this like this is one of our competing features. And I love that now starting with iOS 8, Apple no longer has the encryption keys to users' backups or data on the iPhone. So Apple has now publicly stated that they are unable to provide decryption capabilities for law enforcement for any iPhone starting with iOS 8. I think that's really great. And the other thing they've done is they've put up a brand new privacy page, which I'll give them.
Sequence and scary.
Well, I'll give them some credit. The new privacy page, it's very plain language. It's written in a way where they intended for you to read this, and I respect that a lot, and I appreciate that a lot. And it is written in a way. It is written in a way that is very clear what they're talking about. Like they break down like their government information requests, and it is very clear.
I love this.
Right. Now so that is extremely good. It shows clear thought, concise information, and without any ambiguity, they say we're not collecting your data, we're not ever gonna monetize on your data. I love all that. Here's the thing though. This is good. This is what I would love to see Google do. But there's also some things that Google does today that I would love to see Apple do. Like right here, they have this button that says manage your privacy, and I thought, oh, here we go. This is going to be Apple's equivalent to the Google dashboard, where I can go in there and see where all of my information is about what they have on me. I can selectively delete stuff. I thought, finally, they've implemented something that says this photo exists on Apple servers. Click one button to delete it from everywhere on our cloud. But no, it's really just kind of an overview of tools they already have that, in my opinion, don't exactly live up to the requirements that we have as end users. It's just an overview of some of the features they've built into their OS, which is nice. And by the way, one of the things I noticed with iOS 8 now is applications like LastPass can now protect your password vault using Touch ID, which is pretty cool.
This is awesome. Okay, so that's actually, that and the encryption keys, man, that's a huge step. I mean, because they're a major force in the market, and to have pushback against that, because when I heard that on TechSnap, it scared the hell out of me.
Right.
Frankly.
Isn't the encryption keys the user's passcodes? So if their passcode is 1 to 3, it will kind of be very bad encryption.
Not exactly. I believe it's seeded from the user's passcode, but it does not just consist only of the passcode.
So it's hashed.
I don't. Well, yes, but I mean, they like the complexity of the key goes beyond just like a 4-digit code.
It's encrypted. It uses that as the.
I think there was a article we covered when we were discussing iMessage security in TechSnap. So if you search the Jupiter Broadcasting site for TechSnap and iMessage, in that coverage, we talked a little bit about some of the way they do the encryption, although that may have now changed with iOS 8.
Hopefully it's changed.
They also have a page up now about turning on two-factor. So I'd say in some ways I'm impressed with with Apple's response. And I love the change on the encryption. I also like that now you have to have two-factor authentication to restore backups from iCloud. I think that's good. A little late, obviously, as Jennifer Lawrence and others would say. I think what we need is now for Apple and Google to trade these. Like Google needs to put up this or Facebook, right? Needs to put up this extremely clear language, plain language. This is what we do with your data. This is how we plan to protect it. Google needs to do that now. So does Facebook. And what Apple needs to do is sort of look at the Google dashboard and implement something like that for all of the Apple services, for iTunes, App Store, iCloud, all of that, to give some use. It's one thing to talk about it, but you need to give users to have complete control over their data too, and that's the missing piece now. So it
will never happen. It's a nice dream, but it will never happen. This is their money. This is all of their money.
Yeah.
Well, every company out there is required by law to put out a privacy policy and a statement to its customers.
Privacy policy, but show me a judge that can even begin to comprehend any of the technical challenges in terms of understanding the issues that we're talking about. I'm serious. Like, look at the way Facebook has managed their privacy over the last, 4 or 5 years.
Oh no, I wasn't discounting that.
Are we on about Apple or Google here? Because if it's Apple, they're a hardware company, so
I'm
they
against
can
everyone.
make
Well,
money off of
I want to touch on that point. So on this privacy page, Tim Cook wrote an open letter on there, and he says, this is one of the many paragraphs. He says, our business model is very straightforward. We sell great products. We don't build a profile based on your email content or web browsing habits to sell to advertisers. We don't monetize the information you store on your iPhone or an iCloud. And we don't read your email or your messages to get information to market to you. Our software and services are designed to make our devices better, plain and simple.
But we also don't make it easy for you to understand or actually be able to look at what is actually going on.
Right. We don't provide transparency. We don't provide control over your data. Right.
But it's weird. Like, when you start to switch back away from Android, I can't remember how many months ago that was. You brought up, you're like, you know what? I'm kind of uncomfortable with a lot of things that Google is doing, and I'm kind of more. At least I know where Apple is coming from.
I know where they're planning to make their money from. Yeah. It's like, I feel like they're screwing us in terms of like control, and they try to lock us in. Although if you're savvy enough, you can avoid it. And they charge too much, right? And there's a lot of things they do that nobody likes. But at the end of the day, I'm so crazy, I am so screwed up in the head that I could believe that in the Google server farm, there is a very early proto virtual Chris that they are trying to assemble that is a construct of my likes,
They've already got him.
I know, because you know why? Because it gives them the one thing they want the most that they have said so many times, to predict what we want before we ask for it.
Predictive analytics.
Yes, that's how Google Now works. That's how the watches get better. That's how, of course.
This is how their search works. This is why, like, Google search,
But that creeps me the hell out.
Oh, and it should. It should scare the living.
I think so.
Daylights out of everyone within sound of my voice.
Yeah, but maybe not. I mean, maybe I'm just crazy. But whatever. And maybe I'll just go. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go live in a shack with a Sailfish OS loaded on my Nexus 5, connected to Wi-Fi, and I'll just live in a box somewhere. I don't know. What else am I gonna do? You know what I could do? I could switch to Qt. I think Qt's got legs, baby. Yeah, Qt's got. Well, it's actually its own company now. So Digi just announced they've spun off Qt into the Qt company to unify Qt's commercial and open source efforts. They debuted also a new low-cost plan for mobile developers. Now that Qt is its own company, or actually at least a wholly subsidiary of Digia, it's based in Finland, which is kind of awesome. And if you recall, Digia has largely been involved with the commercial version of Qt since it acquired the platform from Nokia back in 2012. We covered that back in 2012 on last. They've also sponsored the community projects and things like that. According to Qt, though, check this out. Because now that they're own company, they get to make their own statements. The number of Qt developers has grown exponentially to about 800,000, spurred by the 2013 Qt 5.2 release, which added Qt for Android and iOS. Within 6 weeks, Qt 5.2, or Qt, if you want to call it that, was downloaded 500,000 times, and it reached 1 million downloads only 4 months after the release. Another 1 million downloads have occurred since the July release of Qt 5.3, according to the new Qt company. They also have a brand new logo and some other things. So this is awesome because, and I hope now that they're standing on their own, they can kind of just focus on really dominating the fact that they have a toolkit that works great on desktop, mobile, and there's some big weight behind this sucker. So,
and it's a great product to use. This is what I've been doing actually all the last 10 days. Been trying to figure out what platform I'm going to ship my next program on, and it's Qt.
boom.
One platform to rule them all.
And you can get all in on their all like commercial mobile support stuff with 26 bones per month, or 20 euros, which is not bad. All right, here's a story that I'm starting to follow. Tech Dirt alerted me to it because they picked it up from Just Security. This sounds horrible and not surprising at all. So a new DOJ, Department of Justice proposal in the U.S. would allow the FBI to hack into computers overseas with very little oversight and probably insight. Just Security alerts us to this. It's a frightening proposal that would enable law enforcement to do this. At the issue is the current rules that would basically extend the powers granted for terrorism investigations to everyday criminal investigations.
It's awful.
Terrorism investigations, those authorizations granted to everyday investigations.
And
Let's just enjoy that for a minute. Yep. Of course, yes.
This is absolutely off.
Yeah. In the past, judges could issue warrants for such computer hackings if the target was known to be located in a district where they had jurisdiction. But the proposed change would wipe out that limitation and basically give the DOJ and FBI the power to get approval for hacking into a much broader range of computers without the geographical limitation. Of course, there's concern about how this could be abused. And here's a little bit from Just Security's website. Under the DOJ proposal, unilateral state action will be the rule, not the exception, in the event of an anonymous target proves to be outside the U.S. So, in other words, just like how the NSA is able to collect data because they can't prove if they're in the U.S. or not, because they have that 51% certainty rule, this essentially will be applied to the way the FBI works too. Without knowing the target location before the fact, there's no way they could ever provide notice or get consent. So they're just going to be allowed to go ahead and do it. And then if later they find out they were outside the U.S., then they'll have to start the judicial process and all of that.
But that'll be after the fact, and this the thing that's horrible about this. First of all, they've been they've been, I don't know, the whole Silk Road thing. They've been getting information from the NSA and using it in domestic criminal,
and then doing parallel construction,
which is completely illegal.
Right,
completely illegal and a total violation of everyone's rights. But the fact that they're even making this public, that they're just scares the hell out of me.
All right, go.
This is scaring me. The American government just using the excuse because we want to stop terrorists to just get access to nearly anyone's computers.
Right.
Not nearly.
And also, this would be
everybody.
They could get in trouble with the EU over this because if they hack a computer in the EU, it'd probably break EU law.
Yeah. I'm sure they would say, "Oh, we didn't mean to. We didn't know. We attempted to determine if the IP address was inside or outside the U.S."
Well, in retrospect, we attempted.
Right.
Blah blah. But that it's what they call fruit from the poison tree or whatever. And it seems like that argument's gone out the window. Like we had no warrant and we had no probable cause, and we're still going to actually use this against you.
Yeah. Lovely, isn't it? As RMS does say, this is indeed.
Fascism.
Well, actually, he was going to say
this is egregious,
and I agree with him on this. And so, link in the show notes if you guys want to check that out. Now, since we missed an episode this week, we'll be back tomorrow, Friday, with a special Friday edition of Tech Talk Today. Ange will be here in studio, and I welcome all of you to join us for the special Friday edition of Tech Talk Today. And I meant to mention this earlier in the show. I guess for some reason, the feed press service we use to generate the RSS feeds for Tech Talk Today kind of just like went on vacation in the last 2 days, which really sucks. And I went and checked it this morning, and it looks like everything's working right now. Tech Talk Today is the only show on the network where we're using FeedPress instead of FeedBurner because I've been testing migration from FeedBurner to FeedPress, and this has been the test show, and there's been some bumps, and this is one of them. So I apologize. You can check the feeds now, and if you didn't know, we do have RSS feeds for this show, which is a lot easier for a daily show because you just pull them down when they come out, and you just listen to the ones you want. You'll find links to those in the show notes. Also, the subreddit, techtalktoday.reddit.com. You can submit stories, insights, comments, vote up and down. Give me an idea of the direction of the content you want to see this show go. That's, hey, if you think there's too many Apple stories, guess what? Give me some other stories in that subreddit. If you think there's too many Linux stories, guess what? You can go put some Windows 9 stories in there if you want. I mean,
negative.
Hey, if they get the votes, they get the votes, man. They get the votes. Also, email. Go over to jupiterbroadcasting.com. Click the contact link, choose Tech Talk today from the drop down. Okay, guys, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Normally, this would be my sign-off for the week, so join us tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, jblive.tv. And, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I played a Linux commercial from IBM that people loved. I dug up another one. I'm going to play it for you. And special bonus points to any of you who can identify the voice before you see the face. We'll see how you do.
1991 Helsinki, a 21-year-old student named Linus Torvalds writes a new computer operating system. He calls it Linux, then does something revolutionary. He gives it away, free, over the internet. The powers that be dismiss him as an eccentric, a freak, but everywhere coders and freethinkers embrace Linux, improve and refine it. Now the forces of openness have a powerful and unexpected new ally. It's a different kind of world. You need a different kind of software.